Derry 3-12, Monaghan 17 points. A huge win for Derry. The Derry train keeps on going on. Derry very much living up to the hype, very much living up to the expectations that has been put on them as they deliver another big victory. They knocked out the Ulster champions. They knocked out the All-Ireland champions in Tyrone, knocked them out of the Ulster Championship, and now they've knocked out Monaghan, who, of course, were beaten by Tyrone in that Ulster final last year as well. And again, the standout point for me is they're not just beating Tyrone and Monaghan, but they're beating them comfortably. This was very comfortable from Derry. It never really looked like in doubt. Monaghan brought it back to a 3-point game at one stage in the second half, but for large parts, they were very comfortable in the game, very well organised at the back. Monaghan struggling to find a way through. And Derry, again, like in that sort of, I said it before, this Derry side, Rory Gallagher, it's Jim McGuinness 2.0. It's Jim McGuinness 2.0, and it's working perfectly. And it's I know a lot of people, hate on defensive football, blanket defenses, all the rest. But I think when you get it right and when it's effective and when it works, and that's what's happening here with this Derry side. Is very well set up, breaking with pace. You're seeing the overlapping runs at times from Garrett McKinless. Even Brendan Rodgers was finding himself up there. McGrogan, Conor Doherty as well. Like, they just keep finding, men that are running forward. And that's obviously where the first goal comes from as well. Breaking with pace. Garrett McKinless blasting it into the back of the net. Brilliant finish. And the goals were all very similar because they all came from similar stuff. And the movement as well from the Derry attack when they're in those positions, and the interchange and link-up play was just brilliant from, the likes of Shane McGuigan, Niall Loughlin. Obviously, Benny Heron finishes with 2 goals as well, and he was excellent in the game, I thought. Definitely one of the standout players from a Derry point of view. So, absolutely brilliant. Monaghan, they really struggled to get to the flow of the game in the first half, weren't really up to it, didn't kick a point from play until around like the 25th, 26th minute or something like that. Just weren't really at the races and way too slow out of the blocks. And the worst thing that can happen against this Rory Gallagher Derry side is, and against this team with the way that they play is, because if you go too far behind, you go 1-2, 1-3 behind, you're playing against this team that's just so well tuned in defensively. It's going to be very hard. They're not going to give you a sniff. And I said it in the live stream as well there, the watch along stream that I was doing, that Derry or that Monaghan probably only have, 2 natural shooters that can kick from 30-40 meters, and Jack McCarron and Conor McManus. Obviously Darren Hughes, Kieran Hughes, the Hughes brothers, when they're on the pitch, can do damage as well. But and Derry just marshaled McManus and McCarron very well. Like, they didn't have huge impact in the game. McManus kicked 7 points, majority of which were from frees, and McCarron kicked 4 points, but no other scores from Monaghan's forward line there. No scores from Gary Mohan. Noel Kearns with a point, but nothing from Shane Carey, nothing from Micheál Bannigan. So Monaghan just not quite, they just don't have enough in attack for me to be, one of the top teams in the country. Like, they've got Conor McManus, Jack McCarron, 2 top class players, but probably just lacking a little bit more. And I think Derry's game plan was perfect. It really was. Noel Toner around the middle, Conor Glass as well, I thought was very good. Emmett Bradley, when he came off the bench as well, made a big impact when he kicked a point. And they're just, you see Rory Gallagher on the sideline. I mean, I'm not too sure what the whole spitting on the hand thing is about, but other than that, you see the energy and intensity that he has on the sideline, and it rubs off on that Derry team. They all just look up for it. They're hungry. They're charging everyone down, cheering every ball. How many times did the camera go on Rory Gallagher and he's looking at the crowd and giving it this and everything? You just love that, because we don't have enough characters in Gaelic games anymore. It's all people in suits and sitting around with fingers or with legs crossed. It's just not entertaining. There's not much characters. It's, robotic answers and everything else. But Rory Gallagher is a character, and you love to see it. You really do. And I think this Derry team are really onto something special. I do. I think they're all in contenders. I think you have to put them in the conversation now. I know some people don't want to put them in the conversation because, they haven't been there, they haven't been in All-Ireland quarterfinals in a long time, semi-finals. And there is that sort of question of what's going to happen, when they go 4 or 5 points down in a game, which is going to happen at some stage this season. How is their response going to be, and what's their mentality going to be like? Mentally, how are they going to overcome big obstacles and big moments. If they play Donegal and they're getting into the final 10 minutes and their 3-4 points go up, do the legs start feeling a bit more heavier? Does the nerves start playing a part? Because, I know the word experience is used quite a lot. You see Desi Dolan mentioning it every 10 minutes on commentary, but, it does play an impact in moments like this because Derry don't have, these players, this team don't have the experience of coming through, big finals, semi-finals. They're starting to get there. They've beaten Tyrone, they've beaten Monaghan. These two results will certainly stand to them, but it takes time. It takes and it takes years of building, and this team are still quite early on in their cycle, in my opinion. Still, a lot of young lads still in the team. So, look, but I do think they're all Ireland contenders because they've beaten Tyrone and Monaghan very, very comprehensively, and just some big performances. Most definitely. Just get to some of the comments. Match Attacks Kid says, "Hi Aaron, hope all is well with yourself, mate." Sharon says, "Monaghan tried to put the pressure on in the second half, and Derry answered the questions," and they sure did. Monaghan did, bring it back to a 3-point game, and you were thinking, are Derry going to crack a little bit here? Monaghan were starting to get a bit more space. But again, Derry stuck to the game plan and, they break down the other end. Brilliant bit of work running forward. I think from Ethan Doherty, it was, who ends up playing it into Benny Heron, the little sort of basketball, bounce and goes around the goalkeeper. A little bit of good fortune with the goal, but sometimes you need, you don't win anything without a bit of luck every now and again. Sometimes you need a bit of luck, and they got it there, but they would have won this game anyway. So, big result, big victory. For me now, going up against Donegal. Donegal, they're a great team. They've great players, but they do have some vulnerabilities in them themselves. And I think Derry are going to win the Ulster final. I really do. I think they're going to overturn Donegal, and I really do think now they're in the conversation for winning the All Ireland. In my opinion, I don't think they will. I think Kerry are too far ahead. I think you look at Dublin's performance today, would still expect Mayo and Tyrone to regroup in the qualifiers, provided they don't play each other. So it's going to be interesting, but they're definitely in the conversation. Make no mistake about that. Garrett McKinless, brilliant as well with a goal. Shane McGuigan with 7 points. And they didn't get, just looking at it there, just 6 outfield scores. So it wasn't like they were, consistently, only 7 scores in total in the game. It wasn't like they were getting loads of scores from loads of different players, but they were just picking and choosing their moments to get forward brilliantly. And it was just a very well executed game plan, I must say so myself. For Monaghan, they will go into the qualifiers, which is certainly becoming a bit of you don't want to be in those qualifiers because there's a lot of very good teams in there, and certainly it's much better to go through your province, in my opinion. And for Monaghan, it will be tough for them to get out of those qualifiers. But I do think Monaghan, Tyrone, Mayo, and Armagh are the four strongest teams in those qualifiers. So it's going to be interesting to see if some of them play each other, and definitely work to do for Banty, McEnany, and Monaghan. But yeah, big win for Derry. Huge win for the Oak Leaf County, marching on into their first Ulster final since 2011. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button as well. Share it out to your friends and family. My name is Aaron. Big up to Derry.